importance of retraining the subconscious is probably one of the best things we can do. And a way that I don't think enough people are doing is when it comes to emotional regulation, we're often seeking emotional soothing from our peers and a mate or something, and simply the simple act of, okay, what is it that you're seeking in a mate, for example? You're wanting them to make you feel this way or that way or that way. We got to start to follow threads. Okay, well, I want a girlfriend. Well, why? And if it's not just lust, it's for a sense of connection. Well, why does she make you feel connected? Can you somehow bypass the physical carrier of an event via visualization and via a meditation process where you're now getting absorbed into the very vibration and energetic qualities that you're seeking in these life events? And if you're able to start to give yourself 20 minutes a day or more, if you get that 20 minutes a day for 7 days a week, you're gonna satiate yourself. And it's like you don't go to the store hungry kind of thing. When you start to do this emotional regulation and skip the physical carriers of these events, you're gonna be much more contained. And then it goes into, you know, we always talk about the divine masculine. It's like, rather than seeking to control, we're here to serve. And if you can't emotionally regulate yourself on that level, you're still going to be hungry, a hungry wolf looking and looking around. So this act of regular visualization, where you put somewhat of a barricade on your state and say, I'm only going to choose to feel this way for 20 minutes. And you might fall out for 5 seconds, you might fall out for 20
it's
seconds.
a meditation in
but
itself.
you come back.
Right.
And you say,
Beautiful.
ooh, I feel good. Ooh, I feel loved. Ooh, I feel lovable. Ooh, I feel worthy. And all these emotional cravings that we have on a higher level. Not like, oh, I lust, I want, you know, I'm hungry. Not those emotional cravings.
Right.
But when you can actually give yourself those vibrations, because again, we are feeding, just as we are feeding physically, we're feeding emotionally, we're feeding in the astral realm. And so if you need a person to give you, to trick your mind, to give you permission to feel worthy, loved, then you're one step behind. Then
right. You're dependent. You have a codependence or a dependence anyway. And so they say, you know, at least in my spiritual upbringing, that you want to make this connection the strongest, because have this love affair this way, right? Because a lot of our emotions come from our attachments to relationships, whether it be loved ones, whether it be kids, wife, potential spouse, partners. You know, that's where a lot of emotional dysregulation, boss for that matter, you know, it could be in the workplace too. But having this strong connection will make one feel whole. And that's a nice process for doing this visualization, or the feeling, right? The energetic feeling of these, so that you have this satiated, you know, so that you're not as needy grabby for it out here, which I don't want to say you're not in control of, but it never meets expectations. It's impermanent. It's you might get it, but probably not, or it's temporary. So you have to find humor if you do go after it, because it's going to have its karmic load as well, and it's going to go back and teach you a lesson, which is okay too. There's choices there, so it's not to say stay away from all that. It's just, this connection here will probably make these more balanced and allow you to be a more balanced person, so that you're not as needy and be as able to be victim-minded or jerked around for that matter when something goes awry.
And if you want to compare it to physical, you know, someone says, oh, you need this vitamin, and then you start eating a food with a bunch of anti-nutrients just for that vitamin. So it's like, there's other sources to get that, you know.
Interesting. Yeah, good point.
Let's take a look at your list. And
So I wrote this. This is interesting. I wrote this probably 15, if not 20 years ago, and I'm like, and I happened to come across it the other day. And this I wrote, and it was the benefits of meditation. I was doing this for the Sri Ramchandra consciousness. I was like, I wanted to list all this. And they kind of laughed at me, but I kept it anyway, because they're like, no, this is what's supposed to come. And I was like, okay, but I put some mind into the emotional, mental, and spiritual gains that come from a meditation practice. So, we could probably jam on each of these.
Each of them, yeah.
But should I maybe just read them out for now, and then we can come back and jam on these in a future, discussion, because one is, and so we don't bore you. I'll read the emotional, then you can read the mental, improving, we've been talking about improving emotional stability, number one, gaining perspective, a wider perspective, awakening to what's kind of going on, or looking at things through a more open lens, becoming more responsible, right? Having more responsibility, becoming more responsible, as opposed to,
ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss. Reducing anxiety, reducing PTSD, these things that come around with monkey mind, or through traumas. We good?
Yeah.
Okay. Improving relationships and family dynamics, for that matter. That was a biggie for me. What got me into the spiritual process was a need to improve my family dynamics. And so I was like, it's up to me. I can't change them. Let me work on myself. Reducing depression, eliminate panic attacks. It will have an effect on this sort of thing if you're not nervous nilly and you're desensitized. Building tolerance and compassion comes with time, right? More amusement, becoming more productive, more affectionate, more forgiving. It will ease stress levels. Again, the autonomic nervous system. Reducing road rage. For those that are yelling at people in their own cars. It's amazing what has happened to me over a lifetime of yelling to going, they need some
people
help.
die over that stuff.
Yeah, let me send them love. Right.
One simple thing like that can create a lot of stability in your life and prolong your life. Yeah,
it will prolong your life. This road rage. Very intelligent people still have road rage. And so they just don't quite get it that, oh, wait, that's affecting my health, right? All these anti-agers that still have ers and and oh, screw them, right? Not helping your health, So, becoming more content with what is, right? Helping to overcome grief, right? These are lower levels that we don't want to be stuck in of consciousness. Becoming less aggressive if we are a hothead or of that nature. Increasing our happiness levels. Building emotional intelligence and maturity is a big one. It tends to cure phobias. It helps avoid pettiness and victim mindset. You will be more composed, right? On the inside and on the outside. Revitalization, rejuvenation, and it tends to eliminate hot buttons, things that we're attached to that piss us off, right? So that we will be more in amused or interested, detached from these things that typically might have set us off in the past. So those are some of the emotional. Do you want to read out some of the mental and comment on them?
Why not?
Okay.
So mental, increased mindfulness, which is, again, consciousness, one of the easiest ways to talk about it is just awareness, and a lot of us lack that. So, builds wisdom, helps overcome bad habits, which we all feel so much shame around. We all want to do that. Improves sport performance, become more intelligent, reduce ADD, ADHD symptoms, eliminates mind chatter, improves memory, increases learning capacity, which translates across the board, builds capacity to solve complexities, alleviates eating disorders, increases listening skills for the men who are struggling in their relationships, overcome, and it just, you never know when a fun fact is gonna, I know that. Overcome bipolar disorder, clearer picture of truth, slows the mind's aging process, less cortisol, and also to maintain lucidity, we have the phrase, you use it or lose it, and if you're not contemplating, thinking, and utilizing that, I'm sure it's the same process. Enhances focus and concentration, improves judgment, increases mental health and balance, increases willpower, interesting, better control of thought patterns, improves sleep, peace of mind, and minimize externality needs.
Many people don't know what externalities are.
And what would you say that is?
This is one I've talked to back when they were children, when they were younger. Now I still talk to them about it. This need for things out there to make us happy. And without judgment I say it, but there's often externalities are these things sometimes we put on our body, or changing hair color, and it can be anything. It could even be, makeup and hairdos. These, and we could take it that far where, oh no, we're not all Buddhist monks here, in one shape and size. We like to have our individualism. But there might be a point where we look at it and go, what is enough with these? How many tattoos do I need? How much, purple hair, and again, that may come across judgment, because to each their own to some degree, but these things that are on the outside, even the car that we drive, right, that make us feel better on the inside. So the need for external things to make this internal soul feel good, because we come into this world naked and then we dress it up with all these things to make the ego more happy.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, for example, if we're going to point a finger at anything, the cabal, the matrix, the corporate industries, 90% of their profit comes from making you feel like you're not good enough.
Yeah.
90% of our woes, maybe not 90, a chunk of them. I'm not going to get this girl because she's going to see my car, and now I feel like a loser, and now I'm going to work for that. But now in my attempt to achieve, it is coming from, again, our consciousness state is emanating energy that is self-perpetuating, what's that word? It forecasts and it brings back.
Right, projecting.
And so, although I have this noble attempt to go make money, it is birthed and sustained from a fear, from a feeling of inferiority. And I'm casting that energy. And so this energy helps us clean up. And back to the Christ and Buddha figures. When you hang around someone who has done a lot of the work, there's a stability they bring. There's a feeling of life-giving. You look in some of these eyes and you're like, wow, I can go do anything, like the way that they emanate energy into you is real. And so if you want to paint anything, we should think about, rather than the skin, think about our aura. What actually is in our aura.
Right.
And you can fake it all you want. We live close to where all the spiritual people get their clothes in Uptown Sedona, and they paint it all sorts of ways. And yet the thing is, we can fool even ourselves. Well, I changed my name. Well, I'm a starseed. Well, I'm a big deal and I have nothing to worry about. That's where this consciousness comes in. Awareness, objectivity.
Yeah.
And you can start to look at yourself like, okay, I do think someone triggered you. Why do they trigger you? Well, I just don't feel good enough in this situation. That's a great start.
Yeah.
As much as it sucks, let's look at it.
Let's look at it.
Oh, well, I feel like my girlfriend's going to cheat on me. It's a great start. All this painful stuff that we run from is food for the higher self to start recreating and transforming ourselves into more of its representative on this planet. And if we don't do that, back to the cabal, we'll put on the lipstick, we'll be what they want us to be. We'll be lipstick on a pig, as Mark says all the time.
We'll become transvestites.
Exactly.
That's what they want us to be, right?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, right. We love you, transvestites.
But yeah,
it's where we want to go. It was near the top, and it's good that we have externalities down here. But back at the top, one that caught my attention was that, wisdom, right? Wouldn't it be nice, like you came in with fairly wise into this planet for such a young age. It's amazing, the wisdom that you carry, and maybe it's some of the reading, your capacity to learn.
I think it's 100% this work in previous incarnations.
Lives, right? But to have that, that wisdom, to grow in maturity and have the wisdom, right, to understand what's important, how to build bandwidth or productivity, to have this wisdom. Who doesn't want to be wise, right? because it doesn't mean you have to be ragged and wise. You can be wise and still have a pretty decent life out here. But it's nice to have. It's a nice compliment. You know, I aspire someday to have wisdom, right? To be able to know what to say in what dose at the right time.
Yeah.
And that to me is an essence of wisdom.
The wisdom to maybe not act, or to act and choose that act. You know, a lot of people chase the title of being seen as the guy, rather than it's a lifelong process to be actually wise, versus, you know, maintaining an aura of it. And
right, maintaining the aura, going on YouTube with some wisdom words, right, as opposed to really having that inside. And that's especially going to be true as if you haven't embarked on family. Like, you want to do this for guys, women out there. You want to do this building consciousness ahead of family. You don't want to have to wait until you're in that mode to start. That's crazy time when you're trying to juggle work, family, feeding. You know, there's still a little bit of joy there. The idea of, oh, let me carry on and start a spiritual process. I had to, because I wanted it to get better quick, and, you know, I didn't have another means. But I highly recommend that, you know, those that are ready, that are capable, have some time, or willing to have the willpower, willingness awaken to this possibility, start it sooner than later, like in your teens. Because, boy, by the time you do have, you will probably marry up. You know, I always tell my kids, you need to improve your consciousness because I want you marrying up. You know, finding some ways to get some good cloth in this next generation. And so
they come from great cloth.
Yeah, they're good kids, right? And so, but you always want to have less drama in that person that you're going to have a lifelong partner with.
Yeah, we compared it earlier to race day. You know, if you're coming off the couch to run a marathon, we understand the human body is incredibly competent. You can fight your way through it. You can probably run more than a marathon, but it's going to be such torment. It's going to be such, you know, flow state is great because you stop thinking about it. And then when a choice point comes, you respond relatively gracefully. Versus this whole thing is drawn out, conscious focus, manual effort, constant cortisol, dread. Are you going to be crumbled and destroyed by what you're doing? You know, training really matters. And this isn't just training for family. This is life.
Right.
This training
for
holographic.
life.
It goes everywhere.
It goes everywhere. You're training for the collective. So you're not, it's going to benefit you in so many of these personal ways, but the benefit, you know, is in the collective as well. And so if you needed one more reason, you know, that you will have an effect on the greater good. And many want to do something like, I want to serve. I want a job that's going to make me, you know, for world peace. So these things. Oh, start right here. Start with 9 o'clock prayer, where, you know, thousands of us around the world are just lifting human consciousness from 9 to 9:15 every night. You can start there. Just that, you're serving, right? 15 minutes out of your day, you're serving yourself, you're serving the collective, you're serving humankind and the animals too, because they need this too, the humans to come up a notch or two.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a future video, just the importance of how we do affect the collective. Such a big conversation. But I do want to ask, when you're sitting down for 9 o'clock prayer, what's going through your brain and your heart chakra? What is your way you're actually focusing your energy in?
Oh, thank you for asking. For those that, you know, and we, because many people, like my parents, after 6 years, I sat down with them the other night, or 7 years, you know, have been doing it. I was like, wait a second, Dad, let's talk through this a little bit, because he's like, well, I'm just praying for all these people. I'm like, okay, you can do that. I don't want to back you out.
It's very singular.
Yeah, very singular praying. But 9 o'clock universal prayer is for lifting human consciousness, and so it's actually a little bit of an active meditation. So it's not morning meditation where you're going
prayer
into the
kind
zero
of implies
point.
active too.
Active, right? So this prayer, right, is more active, where you are lifting, you are feeling the expansion of gratitude and joy joy for humans coming up a few notches. So you're feeling this gratefulness, right? This joy for us already being in this spirit, this energetic plane of it's all good. We got this. The joy is here, you know, and peace on earth, whatever that is, you know, compassion for all, this feeling. And it can change every night. What is that feeling? Is it this love, this vibrational energy of, I got you, right? Like you're holding a baby, you know, and just kind of lifting up humanity. And so this is the feeling we want to embark on for 10, 15 minutes. And it is a meditation in that the mind will go to something else. And then, bring back that feeling, right? And that is bringing up your vibe. You're practicing like the visualization. You're practicing this feeling of joy, of smiles. That's you can add to it a smile so that you're practicing your countenance of energetic smile inward and outward toward others. And so why not practice that? It's a great bedtime ritual.
Yeah, a lot of people, they pray in a request. God, please benefit humanity. And indigenous and the Eastern wisdom keepers kind of say that that's actually back to, you know, the emanation and backlash. You're emanating the lack. The world is not good enough. Please help. And that's maybe one of the dominant datas in that thought that's carried out into the cosmos is the world's not good enough. The world's not good enough. And it is nice that you're praying, but the efficiency might be increased by this aspect of
doing it in the collective, yes, and the feeling.
Everything is good, and
right.
Not to be dismissing and not to be bypassing and naive that, you know, the world is crazy. But
but to have that feeling.
You're putting that operating system again.
Yeah, and you're doing it with thousands. We want millions of others. There's probably 100,000 people doing this around the world, 9 o'clock, whatever time zone they're in. And so we're all entangled. And so they're really not so much a big deal. But it is nice. We do it here at the Canyon Rose or wherever we happen to be. We drop in for a little bit and spend this time for 10, 15 minutes just in this heart space. And so yeah, it's but it's that gratitude of it already is here. And then you can even, I haven't done this in a while, but my Abiyashi friend, mentor used to be done, you know, and this is after some
a little gesture feel.
Like, got it. Right. The world is better now.
So there's these initiatives of, you know, blockchain technology, paying people 20 cents for every time they flush the toilet or something like that. We're working on an initiative that we'll be able to track your Neuralink and track your thoughts, and we'll give you $5 to $20.
What you want? We'll start with a quarter.
Yeah,
you know, for every time you hit the mark, right? If you hit the mark, eventually we'll find a way to be able to hit the mark.
Yeah, we'll have a vibrational way of measuring your resonance. If it's not effective enough, we're sorry.
Yellow belt.
We got to incentivize
purple belt,
you.
Black belt. You know, are you a black belt meditator?
Exactly.
We'll get there.
Exactly.
I love it.
Very cool.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah, we'll talk all this stuff in more detail. You know, coming with a more systematic approach of improving your capacities, serving on a higher level. There's a lot of good stuff to come, and we really hope you guys follow along and integrate what we're offering. You know, we're not just trying to be talking heads. We're trying to be examples and inspirations to, that's a good way to do it. Okay, let's do it.
We'll give you ways, right? We want you part of Sedona Quantum Consciousness, our collective, you know, or whatever. We want you raising helping to serve on a higher level. So thanks for listening.